Guys, welcome back, or welcome if you are new. So yeah, we're going to be doing a full face today because I really want to try out this new Morphe. Well, it's not new, I don't think, but it's new to me. This Morphe Light Form Foundation, I really want to try this out. I'm excited to see if it's going to match me or not because I'm not sure. I want to try out some of the newer Morphe palettes that I have not tried out yet. The blush that I've had, one of their blush trios that I've had forever and have not tried out. So let's just jump right in because there's a lot of stuff I'm playing with today, but I really want to get my skincare together, have my skin nicely hydrated and moisturized before I put all this makeup on my face. So I'm going to start out with this Ole Henriksen. This is the new Peach Glaze Glow Mist. As you can see, I've used quite a bit of this, have already purchased a backup because I love this stuff. This stuff really makes my face just feel really nicely hydrated and glowy and beautiful just to start the day. So we're gonna go in with some of this. It just feels so good, you know, really good. So I love that. And while that is kind of settling and soaking into my skin, I'm going to put on some eye cream. This is the Wildcat Orchid Stem Cell Magnolia Berry Eye Gel. I'm sure I got this in a subscription box some time ago. And I'm working my way through it because I use different eye creams in different places of my house. So it takes me a little longer to get through certain products, but I'm gonna go ahead and apply some of this and just kind of rub that in a bit. Okay, so next I want to go in with some of my Snail Mucin. This is the Advanced Snail 92 all-in-one cream. I got this off of Amazon and I absolutely love this stuff. It looks like this if you're curious. I don't know if you can see in there, but it's just like a white, slimy, you know, whatever, but I love it. It's very, and you really don't need a lot, you know. I have to keep myself from using too much, but this stuff adds some serious moisture and hydration to your skin. It just gives you a really nice, beautiful, glowy skin. Okay, so now that that is nicely absorbed into my skin, and you just see how it just gives your skin a nice boost of hydration. Now I'm going to go in with this Clinique Moisture Surge. I've been using this and loving it. So I'm just going to add some of this, you know, and I just like to add multiple layers of hydration on my face because with all this makeup that I'm about to put on, I definitely want to make sure I don't have dry patches and areas that just don't come together nicely, you know. Now, if the makeup doesn't work, I will know it doesn't have anything to do with me having dry, patchy skin, right? Okay, and lastly, I'm going to go in with this Gisou honey infused lip oil. I don't know, have you guys tried this? Oh my gosh, this stuff, when I first purchased it during the Sephora sale, I think it was this last holiday season, so a while ago, because we're already upon the new holiday season almost, which is crazy. But I was like, this stuff is so pricey to me. I'll grab it during the sale and see if it's worth the cost. And it is. This stuff feels so good on the lips. Oh my goodness. And you know, I've tried many a lip oil, most of them drugstore, you know, or more affordable, because you know, a lip oil is a lip oil, right? No, this honey infused lip oil is very nice. Okay, so I would just say, if you are curious, I definitely feel a difference. It's really nice. Okay, so while all of that is just absorbing into my skin, I'm going to finish my brows and then we'll come back and start on the face. Okay, you guys, so before I go in with my color correcting, I do need to prime. So I'm going to go in with this Catrice Aqua Splash Grip Primer. It's supposed to be hydrating, and so that's the theme of the day. Never tried it before. I don't know if it's new or if it's been around forever, but we're going to try it today. It does have a little seal on there. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little on my finger here, and apply it to mainly the center portion, and then kind of work it out over the rest of my face. I don't know why I put primer on like that. I think it's because when I used to be really oily and I used to have, you know, more oily skin type, I used to focus my matte primers, you know, in the T-zone. So even though I'm not, you know, applying a matte primer and I don't have those concerns anymore, I guess just out of habit, I focus it in the T-zone first and then just work it out to the rest of my face. It definitely feels very nicely hydrating. I like it. I like stuff that feels nice and hydrating on my skin. Okay, so far so good. I'm really liking this so far. It feels great, and I definitely feel extra hydration. Okay, so now I need to do some color correcting. And typically I'll go in, you know, I've been kind of back and forth with like the peachy correctors, orange correctors, using a concealer that's the same, you know, as my skin tone, which I actually prefer to do. But I'm gonna go in with this Kosas today. You know, it has like a bit of an orangey peachy shade to it, and we're going to do a little bit of color correcting prior to our foundation. Okay, so I'm just going to do like the smallest dots, because I have a tendency to put too much because of, you know, the issues that I have. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need so much coverage. But we're gonna try a little less today and see how I feel, because I'm telling you, every time I use like an orange or peachy toned color corrector, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I feel like I can see all of the orange coming through. And so, you know, it's probably because I'm using too much, but, you know, I was like, I'm still learning what I do and don't like, even after all these years of trying so much makeup, you know. And what I do and don't like actually has changed over the years, and it's still continuing to change. But, you know, I don't know. I really don't have a lot of things that just really bother me about my face. You know, I'm aging gracefully. That's perfectly fine. But honey, the dark circles and the hyperpigmentation, it's just like, it irks me to my core, because it's like everything else about the makeup can be great and I love it. But honey, when I see the dark circles coming through, you know, and it really is like right in this area, right in that jowl area where it really just gets crazy. But I've gotten a lot better with dealing with the under eye, you know, darkness. So it looks like that's working pretty decent, right? Yeah. But it's like this area here, like say I can still see there. I'm gonna put just a tad, just a drop more, because those are really the areas that really just stress me out. And when I say stress me out, they stress me out. And maybe it's because, look, I'm sweating, you guys. Maybe it's because I touch, you know, around my mouth, you know, a lot. I don't know, but yeah, they stress me out, child. And I've watched like Jackie Aina's technique, you know, how she goes in with the really dark orange and then she puts powder on top, and you know, it seems like a lot, you know. And I'm like, I don't want to do all of that. And we're not the same skin tone, so you know, I have to find the right shade that works for me. So I think they're covered pretty decently, right? And that really was not a lot for as far as it's spreading. That was not a lot. So far, this Kosas is not too bad. So this is the Revealer Extra Bright Serum Powered Color Corrector in the shade Alchemy. So if you want to try this one out, you know, and if you're like my skin tone, it might work out for you. So we're going to see how it works out today under our foundation. Okay, so I'm going to clip this hair back out of the way, and we're going to move on to this foundation. So I got the shade Rich 27N, and let me see. It doesn't feel like it's super loose, like I really need to shake it up. So, but let me see. Okay, so that's what it looks like. It looks like it might be a good shade for me. Let's see. Yeah, that looks like it's going to work. It's almost disappearing as I just kind of apply it, right? Okay, so I'm going to use my palette and just, let's start out with 2 pumps, right? I might only need it 1 actually, but we're gonna start with 2 pumps, and I'm going to use a, you know, one of these brushes with the dual size hair. I always forget the name of this brush. And I'm going to spray the brush a little bit so it's a little damp and not super dry, and just work it into the brush. Okay. In those areas where I color corrected, I'm just kind of tapping it on top so I don't disturb it too much. But the rest of my face, I'm kind of swiping a bit. Swiping and tapping. Okay. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks like, yeah, like this shade is working nicely. My chest is a little bit lighter, but barely. You know, my neck matches, so it looks like it's going to work. I'm always excited when I get the perfect shade foundation, because I mean, it'd be hard to tell, you know, on these websites. I'm pretty sure I ordered mine from Ulta. It's rare for me to order directly from the Morphe website. I used to do that a lot back in the day, but now, you know, I don't. And child, honey, from Ulta, I do not order things for delivery from Ulta. No ma'am, because honey, they will put an eyeshadow palette in a padded envelope. And you know how these, you know, delivery people be throwing them envelopes and stuff around, child. So it's like, I have never ordered anything by mail from Ulta without my package or box coming looking crazy. Like, yo, you know, y'all didn't even put no bubble wrap or nothing around it. You guys just threw it in a box and said, here. And so, yeah, this foundation is giving some really nice coverage. I feel like I probably could have just used the 1 pump instead of the 2, honey. But Ulta do not care. You know how you seen that those Instagram reels or TikToks where it's like, we do not care, honey. Ulta do not care about them products. I'm like, okay, so yeah, I don't order anything from Ulta for delivery, because baby, when you get your package, it's gonna look like dust. All right, so if it's not available for same day delivery, I'm not buying it from Ulta. I'm sorry, I'm just not. So anyway, okay, so foundation is looking good. Okay, so next I'm going to go in with my concealer. Today I'm using my Catrice True Skin. I'm using a lighter shade than I normally do. I usually use this as my color corrector underneath my foundation, but in a darker shade, Warm Spices. But I wanted to try this out as a brightening concealer as well because I love it so much as, you know, a regular concealer. And this one is in the shade Neutral Fudge. So as you can see, it's quite a bit lighter, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about this shade. Yeah, you see how light that is, but you know, we're gonna go ahead and just try it out to do you know, like a full glam type situation. But yeah, it is pretty light to me, so I'm like, I think I'm gonna go ahead and blend a little bit of my foundation in with it, just so that it's not so bright, because that's pretty bright for me. But I love this concealer, so I'm just adding a small amount of the foundation in with the concealer just so it's not so bright. Oh, this concealer a little bit definitely goes a long way. That's why I love it. You know, for drugstore concealer, it is amazing to me. But yeah, if you find that you purchased a concealer that is just way too bright or brighter than you wanted it to be, you know, you can always add a little bit of your foundation in with it just to tone it down a bit. I'm actually loving that concealer mixed in with a little bit of my foundation. It's working out nicely. Okay, I think we have a pretty good blend there. So now I'm going to move on to cream bronzer. I have my Juvia's Cocoa. So I'm going to see how this works out for me today. Haven't tried it yet. It looks really, really pretty. So I'm going to use some of this. So I'm dipping my brush here in the actual bronzer just to get a good amount on the brush. But then once again, I'm going to take my palette and I'm just going to dab some of that off. Because you see how much I picked up? A lot. It just helps me to work more easily with the product and picking up, you know, an amount that works for me, and just trying to control it better, you know what I mean, so it's not so pigmented, just until I can get a feel for the formulation of it. And yeah, this stuff is definitely very pigmented, as you can see, so it's a good thing I wiped I wiped a lot of it off, right? And I like to just kind of pat the product down just to get the placement before I really get into blending. This shade is pretty dark. You know, I feel like I could have gone with a lighter shade in bronzer. It's hard for me to tell when looking at pictures though, because it's one thing, if there's one thing I hate, it's a bronzer that is too light so it doesn't show up, you know. So I tend to pick like the darkest shade or close to the darkest shade when I'm picking up bronzers, and it's like, girl, you know, that's too dark for you. You know, it's like, use one of the other ones because you will be able to see it. So yeah, this one I feel like is kind of dark, but I can definitely work with it. Now I'm just using the same brush that I used for the concealer earlier and just blending out that edge so it's not too harsh, you know, where the bronzer shows up, and I still keep the amount of brightness under my eyes that I want. And I'm using the foundation brush to create a more seamless transition from the bronzer to the foundation. So I like the way that bronzer looks. Like I said, I feel like it's could be a little deep for me. Maybe I can go a shade lighter, but the application and blendability is really, really nice. It's not like dry or stiff or anything like that. Okay, so let's go into one of these Morphe blushes. I've had these for a while. This is a Cheek Thrills. What shade is this? Cabana Club. So this is what it looks like. Of course, it has the powder. Does it have 2 powders or 1 powder and 2 creams? I don't know, because the little cover covers both of those. So these are the 3 formulas in here. I'm going to start out with this top one here. Okay, so I'm just going to go in and pick up some of this cream on a small fluffy brush. And I'm picking up quite a bit. And I really feel like this little palette is helping me to have a lot less issues with putting too much product on my face, because it allows me to kind of soften it up before I actually apply it to my face. And I really appreciate that because too many times have I gone in, you know, with products straight on my face or whatever, and I'm just like, that's too much, and then it becomes really hard to blend out and it's just too much. So I'm just going to apply this, tap it in the area where I want my flush of color. And since I haven't powdered yet, you know, I don't have too much fear of putting on too much because, you know, the powder is definitely going to tone it down. Okay, and then the final step I want to do before I powder, I want to go in with a little bit of my liquid highlight just to add, even though I really am glowing from all of these hydrating products, just to add that little extra glow underneath the powder. So I'm going in with one of my Juvia's Place liquid highlighters. What shade is this? This is Nubian Gleam. And I'm just tapping a little bit of this on my hand because I don't feel like cleaning my and using a brush to pick it up. I don't feel like cleaning my my palette right now. So, and I just want to add just that extra amount of gleam on the high points of my face. I really have been preferring more of, like, you know, a lit from within, or just like an underpainting of glow underneath my powder, more so than the harsh highlight on top. Now, I still love a good highlight, honey. Don't get me wrong. But this is just what I've been preferring lately. You know, just hit those highlighted areas before the powder. And you'll see how it still shines through even after I powder. Okay, so now to set the highlighted areas, I'm gonna go in with my L'Oreal Infallible Blurfection. This is a loose setting powder. And I have the shade 06 Pink Medium Deep. So this is a very, very light pink loose setting powder. And that's what it looks like. Going in with my Sephora Puff. I'm just taking some of that powder out of the top and just tapping it on my hand and gently setting under my eyes. And I'm trying to keep, you know, all of the products in this video pretty affordable, you know, since I am doing the Morphe foundation and the Morphe eyeshadow palettes. I'm just trying to keep the rest of the face pretty affordable as well. The skincare wasn't that affordable, but you know, can't mess around with your skincare. But you know, everything else you definitely can get a great look with affordable products. So that is what I am doing. And you can still see, you see that glow still coming through the powder. So it's just kind of like your skin, you know, is glowing underneath the powder. I love that look. Now to set the rest of my face, I'm going in with my pressed powder. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour fresh wear, and I use the shade 355 Sienna. As you can see, I have a really nice amount of pan in this product. I really like this powder. And I'm just gently tapping, not too much, because I don't want a heavily powdered face today. And I know this powder is also going to add a bit of warmth, so. Okay, I think that's enough. I have my NYX Buttermelt bronzer. I don't think I need a lot of powder bronzer because I can really see that bronzer, that Juvia's cream coming through. So I'm just gonna do a little bit, just a little bit. I don't want to do too much. This one, I had to get a lighter shade. This one is the shade Butter Days, because the first one that I got was way too dark. I don't even remember what the name of the shade was, but this one I picked up. So I'm gonna see how this one does, just so I can see. Oh, this smells good. Oh, it smells really good. I like the way that smells. Okay, so yeah, it is definitely a better shade for me. Has a bit of redness to it, so it's not bad. Okay, you guys, my apologies if you can hear the fan. I can always tell when my AC turns off and I have to turn it back on, because you know it has that eco saver setting, and so I can always tell, because I start to immediately get hot and immediately start sweating like crazy. I'm like, I can't be doing all that while I'm trying to do a makeup look, okay? But I do want to top off the blush, just to make it a little bit more vibrant. So I'm gonna go into the powder, just a little bit though, not too much, okay? We don't want to do too much, but I do want to get it evenly on my brush, just to hopefully add a little bit more of that color. And it's very subtle. I feel like the powder is nowhere near as pigmented as the cream, but I don't know, could be my imagination, but I just don't feel like the powder is building up as quickly as the cream did. I can see it, yeah, but just not super aggressive, which is okay, because that's what I prefer right now anyway. Dang, that glow is still shining even through the blush. Okay, so now our face is pretty much done. I'm gonna go in with my Morphe setting spray. I haven't used this in so long, you guys. I've been trying so many other setting sprays. I already know I love the Morphe setting mist, so I'm gonna go in with this today. Okay, you guys, it's time to move on to the eyes. And I have two palettes in front of me. Both of them are Morphe palettes. So these are two of their newer palettes, right? So this larger one is the Moonstone palette. Really pretty packaging. But let me show you. This is what the inside looks like. So really pretty smoky, cool tone type vibe, but still neutral. Even though it's, you know, smoky, it's still very neutral. And then I also have the Python code, which is the green one. And my girl Courtney from All Things Coco, it's her channel, okay? She loves this palette, right? And so she said only an idiot can mess up an eye look using this palette. I'm just kidding. She didn't say idiot, but she basically said it's like foolproof, you know? So this is the color story for this one. Absolutely gorgeous. I think these two shades in the middle, you can use them wet or dry. I think I'm gonna go ahead and swatch this palette just so I can get a feel for it, because, okay, I don't want Courtney coming for me talking about, girl, how you mess up an eye look with that palette? So let me go ahead and swatch it just so I can get a feel for it. I'm gonna swatch these mattes. It's only two mattes in here. This super light cream and then this dark one down here. And then I will swatch the shimmers. So of course it's, ooh, nicely pigmented. Okay, nicely pigmented. Cool tone as well, so I think it will combine nicely with this palette if I feel like I need any other shades to combine. So let me swatch these shimmers. So, oh, it feels very nice and silky. Okay, so you definitely do not need to wet them. I guess you can if you want to, but you don't need to wet those two in the middle to get a nice payoff. Oh, that's interesting. The pretty swirled one. So this is what they look like on my fingers. Really pretty. Because I was curious. I was like, well, do I have to wet them in order to get, you know, a decent payoff or no? So, oh, it's pretty. Very, very pretty. And that's that green, and then my little pinky. That's the swirling one. So yeah, but very, very pretty. Very, very pretty. Okay, so now I have a feel for what's going on. I can figure out what I want to do. I feel like I'm not really in the mood for that super light shade that's in the green palette, so I think I'm going to put this shade in my crease out of the larger palette just to start off. But of course, I'm gonna put a little bit of this Morphe eyeshadow primer on my lid before I go in with the shadow. I'm just using just a very small amount of eyeshadow primer today because for some reason I'm feeling like I really don't need a whole lot for the type of look I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep it simple. Okay, you guys, I hope you enjoyed the little musical interlude while I did my eyeshadow. It was very easy, very simple. My girl Courtney was correct. Yes, these palettes are very easy to use, very foolproof, and I mean, great. Now, there is a little bit of kick up in the pan when you're using these shadows, so just be prepared for that, but they are nicely pigmented, blended very well, and the shimmers are gorgeous. I didn't even wet them or anything like that, and honey, they are popping. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the lips. Now, I did pick up a Milani lip liner. I don't know why I keep buying lip liners, because child, I got a million of them and I always purchase the same shade. So anywho, this one is in the shade Rich Cocoa, so I want to use that today. And then I grabbed this lipstick off of Amazon. I might have mentioned it before when I was talking about different lipsticks that I wanted to use, you know, for the summer, but I never got around to using this one. I think I just swatched it, but it's a really pretty shade, and I feel like this is going to look nice on the lips with this eye look and this blush. And so let's just go ahead and get these lips together. Okay, I think that created a really nice lip combo. It has a little bit of like satiny shimmer to it, so if you don't like that, this might not be your vibe, but I really like it with this blush color and this eye look. I think it's really pretty. Okay, you guys, so this is it for today's makeup look. I must say the main product that I was really excited about today, the Morphe foundation, I love it. I think it's a really good shade for me. I'm really feeling it. I really like the fact that I could blend a little bit of it with my concealer and it still worked out fine, you know, under my eyes and for my highlighted areas. So I'm very, very pleased. We'll see how it holds up. I'll let you guys know, you know, when I do my little product roundup. I have so many products that I've been using that I need to talk about. That is just like, oh my gosh. I looked at my drawer the other day and I was like, okay, you need to do a shop my stash. But I'm still really loving so many of the products that I've been using. So it's like, I'm just not ready to give them up. But so far so good on this Morphe foundation. I'm really, really loving it. And I'm really enjoying the primer. Worked out nice too. Just, you know, the Catrice primer. But I'm really, really enjoying having a extremely hydrated base prior to putting on my makeup. I'm really liking the outcome much, much more. More prep, less makeup. You know what I mean? So yeah, everything I tried out today, I think maybe the Milani bronzer, the cream bronzer, might have been a little bit deep for me, but I was able to work it out. But I think everything else I really like. The eyeshadow, okay, Morphe, we see you, we see you. I'm loving the eyeshadow. It's really, really pretty, super easy to use, and everything else worked out fine. So let me know what you think down in the comments about these products. If you have any of them, you know, what has been your experience with them. Don't forget to hit like if you enjoyed this video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to my channel, or if you're not new and you just haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, okay? But yeah, that's it for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me, and I will see you on my next video. Toodles!